Battlefield 2042 is finally getting some content. Just not going to be for a while, as we found out today. I'm going to go over some of the things that DICE has announced today regarding 2042. So without further ado, remember, if you do enjoy today's video, don't forget to leave it a nice, thick, and juicy like as always. Of course, if you enjoy this kind of content, you want more like it, be sure to hit that big red sexy subscribe button right underneath the video. Also got to thank my channel members. You guys help make these videos possible. If you want to join, get access to the exclusive perks that they get, then be sure to check out that blue join button. Anyway, let's begin. So, taking a look at these patch notes, Battlefield essentially just tweeted that they are focusing a lot more on changes coming to the game and content is being pushed back, and I have some thoughts on that, but first I want to go over these notes as to what exactly is happening. First of all, in the upcoming updates, we are getting the scoreboard. They said that they've taken feedback about separating the two teams on the scoreboard, which I think is a very good thing, but I really hope they don't try to over-engineer this scoreboard. It's really something that's pretty simple, and it feels like they're overthinking it. I'm glad that we're gonna get one, but I really hope they don't overdo something that is as simple as a scoreboard. I really think it's pretty simple. You know, honestly, if you just copy and pasted the one from really any of the previous games, I think it would be totally fine. We don't need something that's ridiculously fancy with all this insane information that we either don't need or is just misplaced. Just keep it simple. There is VoIP coming. It's all platform voice communication, which if you're playing crossplay now, you'll be able to communicate with your squad, or you'll just be able to communicate with randos in your squad in general, which is good, especially considering Hazard Zone. Not that many people are playing it. If anyone's playing it, it's actually going to be possible to play that with non-friends that you have, people that are maybe on cross-platform or something. You don't have to be on Discord. You'll have VoIP, and you can just communicate that way. You're also getting a player profile. It'll give you your overview of your career on the battlefield, and it'll tell you how far to go until your next unlock. It kind of already tracks that, but it'll be nice to have a profile that tells us, you know, our stats and everything like that. So I hope that it's kind of in depth like we see in other Battlefield games, where it shows you some of your basic stats, your KD, your score average, things like that. That will be nice to have. They're also saying that they're going to incorporate a clearer, tighter squad loop, a refined ping system, and an improved reward loop for you and your squad when they play the objective. This, honestly, I have no idea what this means. We'll see more, I guess. Hopefully they do something cool, like whenever you raise the flag on your objective in Battlefield 1, you're with your whole squad, it raises your little squad emblem or your platoon emblem underneath it. That could be cool. I don't know if they're going to actually do something like that, but I think something that helps to encourage more squad play would be very much welcomed. What this is, I don't know. Again, it's not very clear. Portal remains an integral part of the game, and essentially all they're saying here is that they're going to try and help with XP, and then they're also going to be analyzing specialists and working on them. They said they're not ready to talk about actions we're taking. I mean, this could mean literally anything. Doesn't mean that they're going to try and alter specialists to fit into classes. No idea. It could be that. It may not be that. It could just mean that they're rebalancing the specialists. I don't know. I would prefer them to just fit them into classes. I think that way you can kind of balance their gadgets, even just dump some gadgets out of the game, like the auto turrets. I think that would be something cool to do, and that way you can have more distinct factions. You can have more distinct, you know, maybe one side like your Boris, your just say Casper, and you know, a couple other ones are going to be the Russian-sided ones, and then guys like Irish, McKay, Falk, they're going to be the US-sided no-pats, and that way you can have more distinct teams, and they'll be fitted into classes. That would be cool, but again, it's kind of hopeful. It's a little more hopeful than I think of what we'll get, so don't get your hopes up for anything like that. Again, this is pretty vague. There's going to be a new feedback loop. They're committed to pushing up the quality of the game, both through our updates and how rapidly we will respond to critical issues in the live environment, like the Bolt, which has just been an absolute pain in the ass the entire time this game has been out. They say they want to clarify the direction that they're taking and what's motivating our decisions to bring improvements to the game, so expect more insight as we expand our existing feedback loops to involve you, our players, more directly, even though this is the vaguest set of patch notes I've ever read. Our team has identified several areas where we're targeting for improvements as how we're incorporating our feedback going forward. We'll present specific major focus areas to you along our current thinking, detailing where we're planning to make changes. That's awesome. Where is it? You know, I mean, these patch notes are not long. This is how long they are. So, I mean, I'm just saying. We'll then take time to observe and listen to the conversations that you go on to have about both the area of concern and our proposals for adjustment. I mean, that's just saying we're listening and really fancy talk. Later, you'll hear from us on the topic again, but this time your feedback will have been factored into our consideration and guided the decisions made for our improvements. So this is them just admitting, yeah, we weren't listening before. Now we'll listen, though. We'll communicate when we've listened to you now. We got to, let's wait and see. You can tell us this sounds good, but until I see action from you that seems to indicate this, this means nothing to me. This means absolutely nothing. You can tell me all the time, oh, we're listening. That's what they said with BF5. What happened with those time to kill changes? Exactly. So until I actually see something concrete about this, granted, 2042, I think they've been a little bit better with things like now they are introducing some of those features that we did want, to be fair, like a scoreboard, but those are such minor things that should have been there in the first place that it's nothing too groundbreaking to say, oh, we're listening to the community because we're putting basic features in the game. Like, that's not listening to the community, that's just getting a game up to standards. So these conversations will be centralized and accessible here on the Battlefield website and summarized across our channels. Later this month, this process will kick off with one of our key focus areas, map design. This is something good that I want to talk about, how they're going to focus on altering some maps. I don't know how much they're going to change the current maps. I don't know how much you really can do that, but hopefully this means that some of the future maps are going to be a lot better. Now, I know in BF5 they did alter some maps quite a bit. Panzerstorm was one of the big ones that they altered, and I do actually like some of the infantry-focused areas on Panzerstorm. I am one of those weirdos that can't stand Hamada, but actually enjoys Panzerstorm in BF5, and hopefully we see some kind of stuff like that with the map design where they do alter it to try and fix up some of those areas that can involve more diverse gameplay, to where you're having a better mix of infantry as well as vehicle play that isn't just so wide open in a lot of areas. And hopefully this means that, I don't know if they can do this, but they add a bit more atmosphere to some of the maps, if that's even possible at this point. But I would like to see a little bit more chaos and destruction on the maps as well. Again, how much this is going to become a thing, I don't know. Big topics like map design will be loud and broadly shared, but more nuanced areas of the game, such as portal logic, we may have those conversations on smaller scales. So some things they're going to have on a smaller scale. Hopefully that Justin Weeb guy, who just is such an amazing communicator, like I'm not even being facetious, guy is legit one of the best communicators that Battlefield has right now. Hopefully he'll be discussing some of these things with us, because he's been all about talking to us regarding Portal, and I would imagine he would be the guy to communicate with as for that. The important part here is that all these conversations will happen publicly and with everyone invited to take part, which is good, but again, I gotta see the actions start to come through. You can say this all you want, but until I see actions, this does not mean much. Some of these feedback loops will cover bigger areas than others, and some will take longer to complete and realize in the game than others. It's not an indication of how we might prioritize issues within the game, but a reflection on the nature of game development. Changes to our maps and core gameplay will take time. That's understandable. I mean, if you guys remember Battlefront 2 in 2017 that DICE did, I mean, they did, and this is kind of foreshadowing for what we see at the bottom of the screen here, they did take like almost a year to actually get real amounts of content out, because they had to rework the entire progression system of that game. And I'm curious how long it'll take with this. It is going to take time, and hopefully these are good changes. Hopefully it works out. Hopefully they are really listening to us, and hopefully these changes are implemented in a pretty decent manner. At least get what current content we have in a fun state. Our commitment to explain our reasoning behind future decisions and make sure you understand where we stand on your feedback. We want you to see more of the big picture and where we're going, and incorporate more of what we're already hearing to ensure that our work is meaningful to you. We'll start this process ahead of the launch of our next update. You'll read about it here on our website when we start these conversations, and if you're already following Battlefield across social media, you won't miss it when we do. Yeah, I mean, they want to explain the reasoning behind some of their decisions. I just hope that those decisions are good decisions. Really all I can say on that. The real meat of this video, though, looking ahead to Season 1. Season 1 is not coming in March. No, baby. Season 1 is coming in early summer. Yeah, you're reading that right. Summer, baby. So I know that's kind of the bombshell. We're not getting it until summer. Now, again, like I said, with previous DICE games that had to fix pretty much the entire game before that we actually got the content. This is something that I somewhat expected. I wasn't sure that they were going to go through the breadth of changes that they seem to be saying that they're going to be doing. So that's probably what's going to happen. I would expect more major changes because of the fact that this is being pushed back to the summertime. But I do think, without even having to read the rest of it, I mean, if you got the Gold or Ultimate Edition, just to summarize here, you get like this little skin pack down here, a skin for a gun, a couple of guns, a knife, a bolt skin. See, the bolt. You get a new McKay skin, which I think looks pretty cool myself. You know, cool stuff. It is what it is. Here's the thing. This right here, all of this is exactly why this game should have been delayed until the spring. It should be releasing in March, and then if you say, oh, Season 1's coming in early summer, that's fine. That's not a problem. But here we are awaiting, what would it be? It released in November, so early summer, say it releases in June. That's technically when summer is. Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. That's, what, 7 months? Over half a year? That is a long time between release and actually getting new, worthwhile content. That is very long time. I understand they're making changes. I understand they're updating the game, they're fixing the game, but this is why it should have been delayed. It should have been. There's no reason it should have released in November. It is far less of a blow if you release it in March and then say Season 1 comes out in June. Sure, that's not ideal, but that's a lot better than release in November, broken game, dwindling player base. Things are clearly not tested all that well, and now we're gonna delay it until June of the next year. Like, that just should have been delayed. There's no excuse for this. You cut the life cycle of 2 other games and brought in a team from a completely other EA project to finish this game, and this is where we're at as far as the state of the game. It should have been delayed. If it was this far behind, it just should have been delayed. I think you would be in a far better place as far as at least the community and everything like that. I think you would still have some level of hype and whatnot, and you would have pretty much the entire spring to yourself, really, as far as multiplayer shooters go. None of the other ones really release in the spring. So you could have easily caught a large chunk of the gaming community. It's just unfortunate that this is where we are at. So anyway, that's all I have to say about 2042, about this new update. I am working on a video right now. It's actually going to be the first video in a series of videos as I kind of go through all of my thoughts on 2042, a lot of the criticisms and a lot of my feedback regarding it. If you want to watch that, make sure you subscribe to the channel so that you can see it. It's going to be quite in-depth, and the first video should be dropping soon, so be on the lookout for that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know down below what you think of these changes, and I'll see you in the next video.